Hi, my name is Eli Holcombe, and this is my speech on losing our First Amendment. Freedom of speech is the most important part, in my opinion, of our Constitution, along with the rest of the First Amendment. The Biden administration and the liberal agenda are quickly taking this away from us, and they're doing it in plain sight without anybody stopping them. It's no secret by now that the whole situation in Afghanistan was a complete and total botch from the time that we had entered into Afghanistan across the 20-year duration that we were there, then at the very end, not knowing, in air quotes, that the Afghan government would collapse, leaving $90 billion worth of guns, ammunition, military vehicles, and most importantly, American citizens behind. After all this had happened, no military had called for any accountability or responsibility for the leaders like Mark Milley and Joe Biden for this situation, except for one Marine. He called out the leaders in Afghanistan for not accepting accountability for what had happened. Marine Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller posted a video that went viral after the August 26 ISIS-K suicide bombing at Kabul. He sat down, he explained the situation from his point of view, and he asked General Milley, Joe Biden, and others, just to name a few, for accountability and for what had happened, asking for responsibility. He says people are upset because their senior leaders let them down, and none of them are raising their hands and accepting accountability or saying we messed this up. After the video went viral, the Marine was sent to military prison and is facing charges, including contempt toward officials, willfully disobeying a superior commissioned officer, failure to obey lawful general orders, and conduct unbecoming an officer and a gentleman. This is a horrific story of how this man's freedom of speech has been taken away by the military. So how can they do that to us? Well, from these COVID vaccine mandates. Another example of how we are losing our freedom of speech. And not only our freedom of speech, we're losing the opportunity to get to say what we can put in our own body. They are getting to choose our health for us. Now, I want to say that I support and respect anyone who is wanting to take the vaccine if he or she decides that the vaccine is personally best for them. I do not support mandating these vaccines, especially since a lot of the population has natural immunity to it across all variants. In cities across the country, police and firefighters face being fired or sent home without pay for refusing to cooperate with the COVID-19 vaccine deadline. In Los Angeles, a quarter of the fire department said they would intend to sue the city of LA if they were terminated for not being vaccinated. The LAPD has roughly 50% of its employees that have not been vaccinated. One LA police officer who has not been vaccinated said he has been getting calls from his captain almost every day about this upcoming deadline. He says, I don't distrust the vaccine. I've had other vaccines. My family has been vaccinated. For me, I've done a personal risk assessment. I'm healthy. I'm fit. The more they push me to do it, the less obliged I am to do it. This quotation fits the perfect outline of an American who believes in their First Amendment right, who believes in their freedom of speech, that you do have a choice for your health. Another situation happening in Seattle. 20% of the police officers have not submitted their vaccine status. A Seattle Police Public Affairs Sergeant says it would be devastating to the city if hundreds of police officers were suddenly fired. A police officer said losing even 50 to 75 officers in one day the response times for the city will go up drastically. And as we know, as we have seen what had happened in Seattle with the riots in the summer of 2020, how would that affect the city if those police officers were fired for this? The city would go up in flames. That one officer has applied for religious exemption, but like many others, he is afraid that he will not be approved. I will not get the vaccine. I will continue working until the day they fire me, and that's about all I can do. I think we're going to see a sad and violent situation in cities like LA, Chicago, Seattle, and New York. Worse than what we are already seeing. If you look at the numbers from last year to right now, crime rates, murder rates have gone up, even as much as 30 and 40% in some places. Last year, they tried to force the police away with violence, the Black Lives Matter movement, and it got some of them, but it didn't get enough for them. This year, they are forcing them away with jabs, and it is working this time. With all that being said, this is a speech about losing our freedoms, not how we have lost our freedoms. Thankfully, there are a lot of courageous Americans who believe in personal freedom and the Constitution. Just like Lieutenant Colonel Shelley, he called out his leaders for what a poor job that they were doing. Unfortunately for him, he was silenced, he was punished immediately. Like the LA police officer who says, the more they push me to do it, the less I'm obliged to do it. And like the Seattle policeman who said he will fight until they fire him. I hope all Americans feel this way about whatever it is that you believe in. Even if it is about vaccine mandates, that you want vaccine mandates. Don't let them take you down. Maybe it's about what kind of job the government is doing, how the economy is holding up. Say what you believe. Use your freedoms and don't let them stop you. Or even to be able to say what you and your children can be taught in school. Our freedoms are not lost, but time is ticking. And if things do not change, they will be gone forever. Thank you.